Hello there, and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, and welcome to your Friday Cosmic Forecast for the week ahead. And this is your forecast for the week of November 9th, Monday, November 9th, 2020, through Sunday, November 15th. And what a wild ride it's been in this last week, and we can expect more wild rides in this week ahead. Let's get started, shall we? And as we're beginning here, I want to say a shout out and a happy birthday to all of you who had Scorpio birthdays recently. Happy birthday, Scorpio. And if you are a Scorpio, then you are no stranger to intensity, to drama, and to transformation. And so we've been seeing a lot of that going on lately. Especially here in the United States, there's much conflict and much catharsis happening around this current election. And even though I don't like to get into politics too much or to take sides, I just want to say that one thing that this election can do for us is bring to light and bring to the surface all the parts and places in our heart where we are still needing to spiritually grow and evolve. So with all these transits going on, we'll talk more about it later, but in the week that I'm filming this, before Friday, before this will come out, so the week ahead, Mercury just went direct, but it's not out of storm yet. So if it's not out of storm yet, then we're having the reverb effect, and there is much miscommunication, and things are not as what they seem, and it's a time of standstill, a time to go deep within and get realigned. So this is a wonderful opportunity to look at where you are still triggered. For example, do you get angry because somebody voted differently than you? If so, you're not very spiritually mature yet. You're not very far along on your path. And I'm not saying that to be mean or judgmental. It's just a mere observation that if you can fly off the handle because somebody voted differently, then you haven't found that secure place of center. So think about that and meditate on that and go within. In the midst of this storm, literally, we are in the storm of Mercury retrograde, the post-retrograde storm. So in the midst of the storm, what do you anchor to? What do you hold on to? I can guarantee you it's not a politician or a political viewpoint. Anchor to spirit. Anchor to your own guides, your own ancestors. And don't put too much hope or faith in men or women, for that matter, in human leaders to lead you. I mean, both, yes, if that's something you feel called to do. And if you don't, that's okay with me too, because it's your life. What you want to do with it is your business. I'm just here to help advise you psychically and spiritually. And I would advise you to look to the celestial realms, to look to the inner realms and to the earth for your stability, for your calm, and also for your creativity and your productivity. And do watch how much time you spend indulging in the political realm and how much hope you put on that, how much weight. Because if you're worshiping that, you can't worship spirit at the same time. So it's okay to be informed a little bit, but don't worship things of man, not if you wish to really be anchored on the spiritual path. All great spiritual teachers have taught this. This is nothing new. It may be something, though, that some of you watching need to hear again today. Okay, so I already mentioned we're still in the storm of retrograde, and again, this is your forecast, for the week ahead of November 9th, to November 15th, 2020, but a little bit for the weekend right before then too, because we are still in the Mercury retrograde, post-retrograde storm until Sunday. And that would be Sunday, November 8th, I believe, or is it 7th? Now I'm getting a little bit confused on that date. So check your calendar, whatever the Sunday is before the beginning of our forecast here. So just, if you're watching this, in the next couple of days, give yourself some more time to just sit with it, whatever it is, to chill out. Keep taking very good care of yourself. And another thing I would say, if you're a spiritual person and you find yourself getting triggered, okay, another thing it could mean, maybe you are really evolved and it's surprising you that you're getting triggered because you don't usually get triggered by things, let's say, especially things like this, outer world things. If that's happening, then that's probably a sign to you that you need some deep self-care, some self-nurturing, and some self-love, because you're wore down. And that's another way that a person can get triggered. I mean, you can be very easily triggered by these worldly things if you're just not very mature spiritually. And listen, if that's where you're at, I understand, because we've all been there. And there's no judgment on that. We all have to start somewhere, right? And so, just set a goal to reach for more calm. I mean, you can still feel strongly about something and you can still stand for a cause without, coming undone and unhinged and being fringed, okay, and frayed. And in fact, you're going to stand better for your cause if you're centered, I would add. But, some are still growing. I mean, if you're in kindergarten, spiritually speaking, that's nothing to be ashamed of. You just reach for first grade or second grade. And, this is just a metaphor, by the way. There aren't grades in the spiritual path, but there certainly are stages of evolution. But for those of you who are maybe a little bit more evolved on your path, and you're usually pretty good at maintaining your equilibrium and staying connected to source, if you're finding that hard right now without all the outer world chaos, then that's a sign to me that your aura has been depleted, your shields have been weakened, and you need to go back and give yourself some extra self-care, extra nurturing. It would be a good time to unplug from outer news sources and to tap back into the news within and the news from your guides and your ancestors. Okay, so these are just some tips. And all of this really does relate a great deal to the cosmic energies, with that Mercury still in post-retrograde storm until this Sunday. And really, it's going to be in the shadow for at least another week yet. So, yes, the universe is still getting realigned, and there's still some confusion. And we're moving back towards clarity, and we're moving back towards logic. I mean, it might be weird to hear a psychic talk about logic for you, but logic is very important. We need logic to balance emotion. And you see, intuition is not the same as emotion. When I say I get a feeling on something, I'm usually talking about a psychic vibe, not an emotional feeling. That's a different energy expression. And when a lot of people, especially in a society, are being driven by their emotions, and especially those emotions are spiked up. When that is happening, like it is right now because of these energies, and it's happening all at once, I mean, it creates craziness. So the best piece of advice I can give you in this next week, and really the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even the whole next month ahead, is to lean into your logic and your reason when you can. Couple and wed your intuition, your higher self vision with logic and reason. And of course, being on the spiritual path and being an astrologer and, a follower of the cosmic way, a liver of the cosmic way, I do believe that the higher self-consciousness should lead always. The intuition should lead above and beyond reason, above and beyond emotion. Intuition is the ultimate master guide in life. But logic has a place too. And I think right now logic is what is most needed, so we may all need to be working on that. And listen, if you're feeling very emotional about the way a loved one is acting or the way they voted or whatever, maybe you should step back and try, using curiosity, utilizing that kind of approach, being more curious, or again, reason. Just watching, observing. That might help you to understand them better. And being in judgment of others doesn't feel good. Have you noticed that? Like, okay, it might feel a little bit good for a few minutes. Like if you want to be self-righteous, it might give you that little buzz. But then after a while, you feel deflated. because you're not connecting with people. When you judge them, you cut off connection and your heart chakra shuts down. You know that? The more judgmental you are, and listen, it doesn't matter if they're doing wrong, okay? I mean, you can look at what somebody is doing and you can say that this is wrong, according to your beliefs. That's fine, but you don't have to sit around judging them about it all day long, because that just freezes your heart up. And it makes it harder for you to connect with others and to be happy in your life. And, if you want to make a positive difference, listen, you have to have a heart chakra that is wide open. You have to be the love, not be the asshole. I'm sorry, not be the judger. Those things, and I don't judge on people who are those things either. I find it really amusing, actually, and it's curious to me how people who I've known for a while who are very spiritual, allegedly, and then they're judging on all these other people who believe differently than them. Hello, that's not spiritual, okay? Not in the sense of union with each other, not in the sense of connection. I guess it depends on what your definition of spiritual is. If your definition of spiritual is shutting others out, if it's closing over your heart, if it's judging others, well, then that would be spiritual. But I don't think that's most people's definitions of spiritual on the spiritual path, even allowing for huge differences. So anyway, stay to your truth. Stay to your path if you can, and you're going to need some logic, some reasoning to do that. There is a new moon at the end of this forecast. New moon in Scorpio, and that is happening on November. Well, it depends on what time zone you live in. That's either going to be November 14th or November 15th. Basically, it's Saturday night, and again, this is 2020. So if you're in the Central Time Zone or Pacific Time Zone, that will be on Saturday, November 14th. And if you're in the Eastern, it will just be a little bit after midnight, so Sunday, November 15th. But you get the picture. So this new moon in Scorpio is going to be planting the seeds for transformation. It's going to remind us to turn back to our passions and our desires in a positive ways. Don't be distracted by power plays. Don't be distracted by power struggles, by dramas. Let the dramas play themselves out. Stay focused on your higher passions. Whether that passion is your relationship or a business, the spiritual path, something creative and artistic. Let these kinds of things be the channel for which you pour this beautiful transformative energy of Scorpio into. Don't go into the head games, okay? There's going to be a lot of them being played with this new moon in Scorpio. Because the really big news this week, as if all of this isn't big news, but for this week ahead, Mars in Aries is going direct on Friday the 13th, 2020. Yes, I did say it's happening on Friday the 13th. And this is in many ways good news, because Mars being retrograde and getting so slow in its orbit has really drained the energy levels for the last 6 weeks or so. But whenever Mars makes a move, so to speak, energetically, this does tend to spike, especially people who are overly emotional. It tends to spike the emotions. It can bring out any repressed anger. And again, it'll bring conflict to the surface. Conflict is coming to the surface, actually, so it can be faced, so it can be resolved. But that doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable when it's happening. So, plan to hang low if you can. Plan to hang low. And listen, by the time this video comes out, we'll have more of an idea of the election results. It's already getting pretty close. But it's going to be contested. I can tell you that right away, because first of all, they're counting. We voted on the day that Mercury went direct, and they're counting votes during the time that Mercury is still in its post-retrograde storm. And now, a few days after, Mars is going to go direct. So there's going to be some continued battles over this. And listen, whoever becomes president, they won't be accepted. I don't feel that, and I'm not coming out in support of either candidate, because remember, I'm your spiritual advisor, not your political advisor. Okay, but I can read the energies, and the energies show that the birth of this election, the person will not be accepted. And listen, your loved ones who voted for the other person, who you different than you did, they're not going to accept your person. Okay. And I'm not saying that to be negative. Again, I'm using reason here, logic, and yelling at people doesn't help either. I mean, if you did want to try to convert somebody, and why would you want to do that? I think everybody has a right to their own opinion, myself. But if you wanted to dialogue, with a loved one, that's fine. But maybe right now is just a good time to practice keeping, your thoughts to yourself while you watch what happens for a little while. That might be safer for you on some levels. And not that life is always about being safe. In fact, I encourage people to take risk in life. I encourage you to live and to go out there and be bold and be courageous like the Vikings. But there's also a time, for being wise and not being stupid, okay? That's all I'm saying. So be wise in your risk-taking and be discerning. And with Mars going direct, there's going to be some destabilization further. So maybe some of us can be a little bit more calm, a little bit more neutral, and help to stabilize the energies as it is needed, because it is needed right now. Nobody will benefit from a complete breakdown, okay? Nobody, well, maybe some would. Not the average everyday person like you and I, okay? Not that you're average, but you know what I mean. People who just want to live their lives, not people who have great power or great wealth. We would be the sacrificial lambs in a breakdown of that type. So let's do what we can to be compassionate for each other. It's going to be difficult, I know, with the energies the way they are, but you can do it. I have faith in those of you who are part of my psychic tribe. I have faith in your compassion and your kindness. I have faith in your ability to go into your center and to realize that, there's a higher cosmic reality operating here. So, and that's what you want to focus on in the week ahead and the weeks ahead. And listen, with Mars going back direct, the upside is, soon, it may not be right on Friday, okay? Because it takes a while for these energies to really realign. In fact, it may not be for a month where you really fully feel back on the top of your game, but you will get there. So, practical guidance here. If you're planning on going forward with an important project, or you're just even thinking about that, in a bigger way, based on the movement of Mars, and it needs to return back to the degree where it was before it started the retrograde, that's actually not going to happen until January, okay? But as it gets closer, you're going to become more energized. So think about a month ahead from now. Think about planning for a month ahead to make the big push, or later. Actually January would be even better, early January. And I'm not saying that because it's the start of the calendar year. I'm saying that because of the movement of Mars, and Mars getting back into swing and how long it takes. So exciting times ahead. I don't know about you, but I have some projects I'm planning. Actually, I'm in the middle of a rune reader class right now. I've been teaching on Zoom. And I'm thinking about teaching some basic classes for those of you who haven't taken those with me yet. Maybe the next one might be a spirit guide class. So if any of you are interested in connecting with your guides, maybe for the first time, or maybe you want to learn some of my tips for that, let me know. You can comment below in the video, or you can, well, you know how to reach me. You know how to email me or Facebook message me or comment here. So I encourage you to do the same. When times are crazy, look forward to the future. Make plans. Make some tangible plans for something fun you're going to do, or something creative, something that lights you up, because that's really what Mars is about anyway. In its highest energies, it's a doer. And that's why people blow their heads, by the way, and get all angry and get all worked up when Mars goes direct or retrograde, because they don't have enough creative outlets. So what's your creative outlet? Or maybe, you're an athlete, or you like to exercise. That's also part of Mars. Or maybe you're a person who does a lot of home repair projects, fixing up the house. That's part of the Mars energies too. So where can you take whatever frustrations you've been feeling or disappointments, any letdowns you might have, any discouragement, where can you take that energy and put it into some kind of project that is uplifting for you or others, or both, preferably? That's what I'd like to leave you with today. I want you to think about that. And dear ones, I'm wishing you all the light and love in the world, and seeing you and yours blessed. Many thanks to the cosmic energies and to the ancestors as well. Until next time, I'm Psychic Cynthia, sending you love and bright blessings.